Number 1. Solving one cross piece at a time. If you solve the cross in a very simple way, one piece at a time, then this can lead to a lot of moves and a lot of cube rotations as well. It sounds like it would be harder to plan and solve multiple pieces at once, but once you get better at the advanced techniques required to do this, then that will actually save you moves, which means less planning. In this case, using multiple advanced techniques, that same cross can be done by aligning blue away to put green in here, but before doing that, putting orange in the back like this. And then by putting in green, you will align red here, and then you can align the cross. For some tips in this video, I will have a dedicated video for it as well, and you can just click here to go to it. Number 2, bad cross finger tricks. After you pick the moves you'll do to solve the cross, you have to make sure you're facing the right side for the finger tricks to be good. There are general rules, like for example, avoid B moves because they tend to be bad, but the rules you actually want to follow are avoid regrips and avoid cube rotations. There are no hard rules for how to do this, and it's quite advanced, so what you generally want to do to accomplish this is imagine what the finger tricks would look like if you faced one side, then try another side, and so on. In this case, if you tried to avoid B moves, you would face red, and a lot of people would do it like this. And that has a lot of regrips. But instead, if you face blue, which I've shown, or if you face green, then you end up with much better finger tricks. Number 3, underusing inspection time. When you go to a competition, before you start your solve, you get up to 15 seconds to look at the cube before you decide to start. This is called inspection time, and during practice, it can be boring to use a lot of it because you don't get to solve as much if you're inspecting a lot. Some people will regularly only use 3 seconds of inspection time, and depending on what level you are, that could mean you're not planning the whole cross, or you're not planning the first F2L pair. If you're thinking, oh, I regularly go up to 15 seconds, well, you're still underusing inspection time. If you're just learning to plan the cross in inspection, or let's say you're much more advanced and you're also trying to plan the first F2L pair, using just 15 seconds of inspection will not be enough time to accomplish what you want to do. If you are currently learning a skill that happens in inspection, take as long as you need. For example, when I was learning how to plan the first pair during inspection, I found it very difficult and I regularly took up to a minute and a half for inspection. Now I can always do it in under 15 seconds, but it wasn't always that way. Number 4, solving the front right F2L slot. A common habit I see during F2L is finding a corner, keeping it on the front right, and then finding the edge, using cube rotations to move it exactly above the slot it should go into, and then solving it using mainly R and U moves. And then doing the same thing with the next piece where you rotate around until you find the one you want. Instead, during F2L, you want to be completely neutral to which slot you're solving into, whether that's the left side, right side, or front or back. Because this is going into a back left slot and doesn't require a rotation in this case, then you can just solve it from here. So you can pair them up and then solve it into the back left slot. Doing this cuts down on cube rotations and just makes your recognition of pieces all over the cube much better. Number 5, look ahead. Look ahead is a very important skill in cubing, where instead of looking at the pieces you're currently solving, you will look at new information and plan how to solve those. The thing that makes look ahead hardest in the beginning is cutting out the habit of looking at the pieces you're solving and trying to look at other things. It's important to constantly remind yourself not to look at the pair you're currently solving because it's very easy to fall back into that. However, not everyone should do look ahead. As important as look ahead is, it's a mistake to try and do it too early. For most people, I'd say look ahead becomes actually useful around sub 15 to sub 25, just depending on what skills you currently have. The main skill you want is to be able to solve any F2L pair without looking at it and without thinking about it. So if you can glance at an F2L pair and then immediately stop looking and know exactly what moves to do and what finger tricks to use, then you're ready for look ahead. Which means until you're ready for look ahead, your solves will just be very choppy, and it should look something like this, where you just solve very fast and then look at the next thing and then solve it very fast. Do not aim for super smooth turning F2L until you're sure you're ready for look ahead. Number 6, double recognition. As soon as you get to OLL, once you see the top plus any 2 sides, that is enough information to know exactly what OLL this is. But if you're looking at this right now and you don't immediately know which OLL case it is, then you will do double recognition. And what that means is you're going to turn to see a different side before you actually know what case this is. This wastes a lot more time than you think because you have to add human reaction time with your brain's processing time, and that could add anything from half to 1 second depending on the situation. And without being told you're doing this, it's sometimes hard to tell that it's even happening. So now that you know that, make sure you go through similar cases and learn how to recognize the difference between them. This doesn't only apply to OLL, but it is most common there, and I have a video all about double recognition and how to address it. Number 7, rotating during PLL. When you're first learning PLL, it can really help to align the blocks so you can more easily see what case you have, and then just do a cube rotation to solve the case. But eventually, you'll just want to pretend the first 2 layers aren't even there and recognize from the patterns you see up here. And when you don't have to match up the blocks, that allows you to start the PLL from anywhere. And then you can just align everything afterwards. Even if the case is already aligned, ignore that. Align it to your hands instead. Then you can start it without a cube rotation and do a U move afterwards. Number 8, the last turn of the solve. Usually after you do the PLL case, there will be one more turn afterwards called the AUF or adjust U face. Once you recognize the PLL case, don't just go into it without a thought, because then you will pause right here before recognizing the final move. And that can be up to half a second of hesitation wasted on one move. Instead, as you start the PLL, for every PLL, you want to have something to look at to memorize where it goes. So for example, this block right here or this block right here are both going to stay where they are. So afterwards, I know I'll have to do a U prime turn to get them to line up with the color over here. I'm not going to waste time thinking about that. I have the entire duration of the PLL to think about what I'm going to do, and then I can go into it without a pause. Some cases are not so straightforward. This is an R-perm where the blocks actually don't stay in place. In this case, this block will move here. Or instead, it could be easier to memorize that this color will stay right here. So since green belongs at the back, we'll have to do a U2 after the algorithm. And U2. Number 9, trying to learn the best algorithms right from the start. When learning algorithms, there isn't just one for each case, there are actually different options you can choose depending on which one you like more. Sometimes one algorithm is just faster than the other one, but sometimes the advice given is to go with which one suits you better. You should definitely take this advice when choosing between recommended algorithms, but don't go out and find other ones that suit you even better until you know what you're doing. This is because early on in speedcubing, it is a lot harder to actually judge what counts as a good algorithm. For example, for the J-perm, this algorithm is actually just better for beginners, but you shouldn't learn it because if you put any practice into this one, you will just be much better at it. So I'd say when you're first learning the algorithms, you should just use the algorithms from somebody fast that you trust. But later on, once you've learned a lot of the important finger tricks and you can start judging for yourself, then you can explore with other algorithms. Number 10, the most important finger tricks. A lot of cubers go a long time doing RU R prime like this. This is wrong. RU R prime should mostly be done like this. The difference is you're starting from home grip, which has both thumbs on the front. And then for the U-turn, you're going to do something slightly more awkward, but it is going to be faster in the long run. This is because you want to be in home grip most often, so you want to be able to access all of your algorithms from here. Sure, doing RU R prime like this feels faster at first, but you'll have to regrip into that position and then regrip out of it afterwards, and those make it slower. RU R prime is one of the most common move sequences, so it's very important to get it right. Here are just some of the algorithms that use this finger trick, and it's also going to be used in almost every F2L case that you do. And also, you'll want to do this with your left hand as well, and there is one more way you can do it. Instead of this, you can do this, which is a little more nuanced as to when you should be doing which one. It's just most important to at least know one way of doing RU R prime from home grip. I hope this video gave you something new to work on, and let me know in the comments which of these habits you do the most. I think leaving a comment will make you more accountable to actually working on the habit that you said you will, and just keep you motivated. Of course, it also helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for commenting. Nobody's perfect, and I've definitely had every bad habit in this video at some point. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.